Hello YouTube, 87 Ricer here. I'm at a little section of town where they got Orscheln's and the pharmacy and the Hermann library and the Hermann doctor's office. I'm in a little section over here where that's where I'm starting off today. So I got a story to tell you about meeting a legendary motorcycle builder that I never thought I would see before. And the story starts off back in 2005, 2006, when American Choppers was on TV. There was a series that had at least three. It was a 3 series. Okay, it was 3 seasons. But you know, the first 2 were a different name than the first one, but it was still in the same area. Okay, so anyways, 2005, 2006 that's when I was like a junior, senior in high school, because I graduated in 06. And I graduated from Owensville High School, Missouri. So Owensville, Missouri is where I graduated from. So anyways, 05, 06, I'm watching a TV show that they just came out called Texas Hard Tales. Texas Hard Tales. And the series was based around motorcycle choppers, hot chicks, and yeah, motorcycles and chicks. And that's what it was around. That's what it was based off. So, or at least that's what the main thing was, because they had a bunch of hot women in it. So anyways, the old man on there, or well, I shouldn't say old man. He's a little old now, but he, you know, back then he was still pretty young. And he still is, I should say. He still is. So anyways, the main owner, Rick Fairless, that's Rick Fairless, owned, I think back in the day, his shop was called Easy Riders. It might have been, I think it was Easy Riders Dallas, back when the show had first aired. But the building that he owns, they call it Strokers Dallas, Texas. In Dallas, Texas, the state. So Strokers Dallas. Rick Fairless owns Strokers Dallas. So look his name up, Rick Fairless, Strokers Dallas. Alright? You gotta think this is back in like 05, 06. He's the owner. He's one of the characters he's one of the guys in the show, and he's portrayed as an asshole. That's what he's portrayed as. He's not the asshole. He's not a rude guy. He's a very friendly guy, but in the show he was portrayed to be a mean guy. But his quote in the show, a good quote that was in the show was, "Get back to work." That was, get back to work. Like his shop mechanics would be working on motorcycles, and then they would start doing other things that pertained not to working on the bikes. And when they weren't working on the bikes and trying to get away with not working on the bikes, he would find out and he would say, "Get back to work." That was what it was. That was what he said on that show a lot. Get back to work. And the beginning of the show was there was a catchy song phrase called, "I like bikes and beers, guns and girls. Get back to work." That was like the introduction to the show. I like bikes and beers, guns and girls. So, needless to say, I watched the show, and it lasted 2 seasons. And then there was another show called Ma's Roadhouse. Ma's Roadhouse. His Ma's Roadhouse. And that was basically his mom's version of the show, where she was being the bartender and all that, because she really was. She was the bartender. Everything in the show was kind of legitimate to a degree, but most of it was also played out, scripted, you know. And he actually told them, "Why do I gotta play as the asshat in this show?" And they just the writers thought, it was good for the show at the time. Well, I mean, no, and I guess in a way it wouldn't be good for the show, but it did give him more recognition nationwide. So even if he was portrayed to be an asshole, and he wasn't, he was still being aired on national television around the globe. So it gave him some more credibility. But he was also in the chopper build-off, where they go up against like several other motorcyclists, and they build a chopper. I think it was called Biker Showdown or something like that. But they build motorcycles and they compare it to the other person's build, and they only have like so many days or so many weeks or whatever. And he participated in that, and he was also given a chance to build a bike that he calls Pam. He's got a motorcycle that he calls Pam, and he built that from the ground up around the motor. And that bike is very, very cool looking. Like it was the one of a kind of it. It still is, in a way, it still is. But he calls that bike Pam, for Pamela Anderson, short for Pamela Anderson. And anywho, the show, it had a lot of cool bikes in it. Like, this guy's a tie-dye loving dude. Like, in real life, he's a tie-dye loving dude. He just lives and breathes choppers. And he is in the Hall of Fame, the Motorcycle Hall of Fame. So he's a very well-known motorcyclist that builds a lot of customized motorcycles. So anyways, back on track. That's kind of the story of Rick Fairless. You can look him up, do some more research. But, back then I never thought I was ever going to meet that guy. Just didn't ever think of it. Fast forward to 2015, about 2017, I started riding motorcycles. And then I was like, wow, what's the name of that show that was on back in the day? And then it dawned on me, Texas Hardtails. So I looked up the name of the person that owned the shop, and it was Rick Fairless. So I started following him heavily. And he actually does follow me on Instagram, which is cool. And I text that guy, or I sent him texts several times, and he does respond to them. Or at least I believe he's the one responding to them. But either way, I still text just to put my belief that he is responding to my texts. So anywho, he follows me on Instagram, and I follow him on just about every platform possible. And anyways, I'm riding motorcycles, so I'm really getting heavily into motorcycles, and I'm really following this guy hard. And I start driving semi-trucks in the year 2020, okay? June of 2020, I started going to school to learn how to operate those vehicles. And, well, within my first year, I was down in Dallas, Texas. And I knew that he resided down in Dallas, Texas. So I actually made it an effort, because I was only like 15 miles from his shop. I was 15 miles from the guy's shop in 2020, like November, December, somewhere around that time. Anyways, I was 15 miles up the road, and I said, you know what? I had some time on my clock. I had plenty of time to go over there and check out his facility, where he resides, where he manages and owns. And so I stopped in there for a very short period, but I was texting him up saying, hey man, I'm gonna make my way there. I'm in an 18-wheeler. Where can I park? And they told me where I could park. And I was telling them while I was down there, I said, hey man, I'm gonna be there here very shortly. Hopefully I get to see you. And then they said, yeah, sure, come on in. Well, I got very, very, very lucky, because just as I got there, he was actually in the process. Like, when I walked in there, I recognized his daughter, Lena Fairless. He calls her Biggin. I recognized her and her children from all the videos that I watched on YouTube about him, and I got to see her first. So of course I'm starstruck. I'm like, you know, I didn't sound like that, but I felt like that. And so I got a picture with her after I was able to clear my throat and really speak in a clear manner. So I got pictures with Lena Fairless and her kids. And then while I was getting pictures with him, or with her, here comes Rick Fairless, the legendary man that I never thought I was gonna see ever. And he comes walking out with a helmet because he's getting ready to drop off or he's getting ready to deliver a Purple Heart chopper that some customer bought that he was given just up the road. So I got to meet him just before he took off on the chopper to deliver the Purple Heart custom chopper that he made, and it was very, oh my God, to see that chopper in real life at that time was amazing because he has a lot of money invested in them bikes. So I didn't stay very long. Once they left, I kind of walked around for a short little bit, and then I had to go because I felt like I was under the clock and I needed to get out of there. So I got to see him. I even got to take a picture with him the first time. And right after that, you know, I was like, okay, you know, I was gonna make it an effort to go out and see the man and actually spend a day or two at his facility, and I made that my vacation last year. I planned on September last year to go down to Rick Fairless's Strokers Dallas and actually get to enjoy and really get to take in the bike scene down there. And so I planned on September last year, and I did. So I went from 2020 till 2022, and 2022 is when I went back down there, and I got to actually talk to the man. I got to get another picture with the man. I got to enjoy his building and his work zone like everybody else that lives down there. I really got to soak in his lifestyle down there, and he has a lot of stuff that is very, very cool. His bikes are definitely one of a kind. Video just does not do it justice. So this is where I'm going with the story. If you're ever down in Dallas, Texas, you need to make it an effort to go and visit Rick Fairless's Strokers Dallas and actually enjoy his establishment and just soak it all in, because like I said, I got to meet a man that I didn't think I was ever going to meet back in high school. And here I actually got to meet the man, the legend, Rick Fairless. And like I said, I do communicate with him, or at least I believe I'm communicating with him. Every time I text him, I'll hit him up on Messenger. I'll be like, hey Rick, I'll send him a picture, because I know the guy gets up early. After listening to all the videos that he has on YouTube and all that, I felt like I knew Rick Fairless on a personal level from all the details that he gives out about his life. I felt like I knew him before I ever got to meet the guy for the second time, much less for the first time. And I actually went to Gas Monkey Garage, just up the road from Strokers Dallas. I did get to wave at Richard Rawlings. He came outside and kind of waved at me and the dude that was standing outside the gate waiting to see him. So I got to at least wave at Richard. Didn't get to talk to him, no photos, nothing. And I'm not upset about that. I mean, I kind of was, but I also understand he's a busy guy. But at the same time, I felt like, oh my God, you know, here we're outside his shop. There's only 2 of us, and he come outside and all he did was raise his hand, acknowledge that he's seen us, but he didn't like come over and get like photos with us. So I was like, you know what? It's okay. After I huffed and puffed about not getting to meet Richard Rawlings, I was like, you know what? Okay, I may not have met that man, but I got to meet a guy who has more experience and more and more stuff going on. Rick Fairless. I put Rick Fairless above Richard Rawlings, and I got to meet the man. And Rick Fairless, if you got more of a chance to meet Rick Fairless at his actual establishment than getting to meet Richard Rawlings at Gas Monkey. That's just plain and simple. You have more of a chance to see Rick Fairless walking around, checking on stuff at Strokers Dallas, at Punchwally Garage, at his bar and grill, and in his shop. You will get to see Rick Fairless long before you get to see Richard Rawlings for a few minutes outside of his shop. Just plain and simple. That's just how I see it. I can't guarantee that everybody will get to see, you know, that not everybody will get to see Richard Rawlings. I'm sure that they do, but I didn't, and I was okay with that after I huffed and puffed about it, because I thought I came all this way mostly to see Rick Fairless, which I did several times. Got to talk to the guy, and so for me not to get to see Richard Rawlings is kind of like, you know, screw it. Rick Fairless is way better. So that's where I'm going with the story. Just because you don't think you're ever going to meet somebody famous doesn't mean that you won't. I mean, I also didn't think back in 2001, 2002, when the Fast and Furious movies were coming out, the first and second and third, I didn't think I'd ever get to see those cars in real life. And to be honest with you, I got to see more actual movie cars that were used in movies than what I did, you know, when they first came out. So I got to see a lot of Fast and Furious cars, a lot of Transformers cars. I got to see a lot of movie cars at places like Hollywood Star Cars in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and the Velvet Collection and Branson. I got to see cars up close and personal that were used in the movies that I come to love. So when you put your mind to it, you will accomplish things. I made it an effort to see Hollywood Star Cars a second go round back in May of 2020, because before I went to school in June of 2020, May 2020, I took a vacation to go down to Tennessee and go to Hollywood Star Cars so that way I could see all the movie cars again. And you know what? I enjoyed it. I got to sit in the red. I want to call it a Superbird. It was the red Charger in Fast and Furious, the one that Dominic crashes into a wall and flies across this interstate and catches Letty mid-air. It was the one that had the tank in it. Yeah, I got to sit in that car at Hollywood Star Cars. I got to sit in that same car, whether it was on the screen or not, which I do believe it was, because it's very well taken care of, and the guy said it was. So I got to sit in that car and get my picture taken. And I also got to sit in the blue Nissan Skyline that Paul Walker was sitting in the movie where it was the blue Skyline where they were running through the city to save that chick, the one that had the God's eye. They were saving her, and they were running through the city of Los Angeles from some kind of freaking Predator drone that was shooting rockets at them, and Paul Walker was driving a blue GTR that he lowered to get underneath of a semi-trailer just as the thing shot rockets and dumped the things, shot the trailer, and they came bouncing onto the ground, and then he whipped back out from underneath the trailer. Yeah, I got to sit into that car at Hollywood Star Cars as well. So I got to see a lot of stuff over my time, and I'm thankful for it. So I also got to meet Jesse James Dupree, or not, maybe it isn't Dupree. I know I got to see Jesse James, not the motorcycle builder, but the lead singer of Jackal. That's right, Jackal Me Off. Jackal, the guy that has the chainsaw, the 111, you know, that chainsaw song, that I'm a lumberjack baby. Yeah, I got to meet Jesse James from Jackal at Lake of the Ozarks, and I got a picture with him too. So, like, if I think somebody is bound to be famous that is a singer or something, I actually take the time and I'll try to get pictures with them just in case they actually do skyrocket later on. And I can say, yeah, I got a picture with them before they got really, really big. And so anyways, that's my story. I just wanted to kind of share with you and ride around town while I was telling you the story. Like I said, go to Dallas, Texas. If you're in Texas, visit Strokers Dallas and get to meet the legendary Rick Fairless. He is a motorcycle Hall of Famer. He's competed against the likes of like the Paul Tuttles, which were American Chopper, and Orange County Chopper, and Jesse James and all of them. He's seen it all. He's done it all. And just check him out. Give him a research. If you didn't know now, you do now. If you didn't know then, you do now. Rick Fairless. RickFairless. Rick Fairless. Yeah. Anyways, check him out. Rick Fairless, Strokers, Dallas, Texas. And look at what his lifestyle is. He's got a cool lifestyle. So I'm going to end my video up there by the old firehouse. Right up the street here. You see it's right in front of me. I'm going to end my video up there. So anyways, yeah, give them a look up. And if you want to see movie cars, I suggest going to Branson, Missouri and visiting the Velvet Collection in Branson, Missouri, and the Hollywood Star Cars in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So I'm 87 Ricer. If you like my videos, give me a thumbs up. If you want every crazy video that I post, hit that bell notification. It should notify you about all my crazy videos. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, which I would highly suggest because I think I put out really good content for folks. So if you want to subscribe. But mostly, like I said, I just wanted to share a story with you about stuff I got to do and people I got to meet and cars I got to see. So you may think that you won't get to see certain people or see certain things, but if you put some effort into it, you can. You really can. I'm 87 Ricer. Out. Peace. Hope you all enjoy the weekend. I can only ride till about 12 o'clock before the rain starts coming in. Today's March 31st, 2023. Peace.